Good morning and welcome to the Quilting Shed here in Fredericton with our end of the year recap. I wish I had a fireplace in here because I got my cozy chair, I got the quilt, got the Christmas tree. It's got that nice cozy ambiance, except for the traffic speeding by, and worker dude is fixing the roof this morning. Of course he is. Let's see. We'll wait for some people to show up. My mom probably has to finish making her tea. Mm. Actually got here early this morning, so that's pretty wild. And I've been sitting here like twiddling my thumbs, trying not to get distracted. Hello, Zoran. One of my mysterious grandchildren are in the comments. So we are going to do an end of the year recap. I just want to hang out for a second and, chit chat away just to fill the air. Because I know you guys are going to love a lot of what happened this year. Well, maybe not love a lot of it, but there's a lot that went on. My God. Mm. Let me know if you hear the banging in the background. Got my notebook. It's a unicorn riding a bicycle because why not? Good morning, Mother. My mother's shown up. We can all start now. So hi, it's Andrea. Today's edition of the Quilting Shed Weekly Live is to remind you that we'll be off for 2 weeks. So next week, it's Christmas week, I will be closed. The week after that, I will also be closed. And there won't be any live videos through there, at least not any scheduled ones. We'll see what happens. Some of my brain thinks I might be able to record some videos for later. That would be awesome. So today, what I thought we'd do, we would sit and chat with each other and have a cozy recap. We will laugh, we will cry, it'll become a part of us. I know, and hopefully we won't get distracted by Buddy working on the roof. Anyway, so before we start for this year, we have to kind of run back all the way to last December, which technically was a year ago. So it kind of sucked in a lot of ways because Ron and I were still dragging from COVID. My aunt passed away on Christmas. Sorry to mention that, Mom. It's going to be relevant later on. But yeah, Christmas has usually been fun and kid centric in our house, and it's changed the past few years, which is I learned is totally okay. But that's where we were last Christmas, and I had just bought my new long arm from Grace Canada. So I got my new long arm up, still recovering for COVID. Lost an aunt. My mom had a hard time. That was rough. But we managed. The end of the year, it was like, phew, made it through all that. And then January, of course. So January 2023, it was like, surely this year will be better. And it was in a lot of ways. But as you recall, Funny Me for January decided, well, my grandbaby wanted roller skates for Christmas. Let's go roller skating. It's a kind of a big family thing. So we went roller skating. And at the very end, I lost my balance and fell flat on my ass, but also wound up breaking my arm and spraining both wrists. That was fun. Remember, because I had wrist guards, but Izzy had forgotten her wrist guards. So I loaned her mine, and then I fell and hurt my wrist and drove myself home. Drove Izzy home first, and then I drove myself home. And the left arm was hurting really bad, and the right arm, it was like starting to pain, kind of bad because I had to like park and stuff. And then I realized I couldn't open the door with it. So yeah, broken arm. Uh, but the lesson there was Izzy doesn't have to feel bad. It wasn't Izzy's fault at all. Zoran's in there. Um, I love Izzy so much. See, grandmothers will make sacrifices like this for their children. They absolutely will. No doubt about it. Um, hmm, so funny. So the lesson learned from that was once I recovered enough and, came to my senses a bit, what am I going to do with the shop? That was the first time I put out a call for help from you, the loyal fan base, the community. Yeah, thank you. The quilting community in my area for help, and you all came out in full force. We made a little roster of volunteers to come help me cut fabric for customers and to be on hand and to lift things. It was kind of overwhelming the amount of people who wanted to help, and I knew I was getting better when I was like, get these people out of my house. Good morning, Danielle. And through it all, Danielle has been my friend and holding my hand through everything. So that was January with the broken arm. February, things were getting a little better, but I do have a little note here that Ron was still pretty sick. I didn't really talk about this much, but Ron was pretty sick. I had talked about it since, and he is slowly improving still, and he has energy, and that's good. He has a lot of digestive issues, some celiac, some IBS. He's on some medication. Still getting everything balanced, but yeah, it's really hard to watch someone be really, really sick, and there's really nothing you can do. That sucked. But what didn't suck, we also started the block of the month. I had intended to start it in January, but stuff happens. I learned that, sometimes if you go off schedule, you don't have to have a panic attack about it. It'll just happen. So we've been doing this block of the month that started in February of last year, which means it's gonna February of this year, next year is gonna be the end because people are asking like, there's 2 more to go. We're just dragging now. But other people in the community have seen this blog of the month. They're like, are you gonna run this one again? Are you gonna run this one again? Yes, I am. I am gonna get my act together over the holidays. And if you'll have time, I promise you will have time. I will run it slightly differently. But yeah, so block of the months are coming. And there's more block of the months. If you don't, there's going to be 2 that start in January, and there's a couple coming in September that are only 6-month block of the months. I haven't told you this, but they are from other designers. Like Free Spirit has a couple that I'm doing with So Wonderful and Tula Pink one. So those are coming in like June. Like it's a long way off. And the other Diane is saying hi from Ontario. Hi, Diane. I miss you already. So that was that. February, March, we just carried on. It was March, like April. I was scrolling through my photos. That's how I figure out what I did this year. What did I take pictures of? I don't know. I do know I did an uptick in standalone videos, and I was really gung ho. I got to make more video content. I got to record more videos. I planned a lot. Got a lot of things started with that. Did some rearranging in the shop. It was still back at the house. Remember, it was still back at the house. But unbeknownst to you, the husband and I had gotten our heads together, was like, you know what? This is untenable. We can't get stuff built on. We kept looking for a commercial space to rent because we knew we had to expand the shop for tons of reasons, much of which was due to demand. And when you're doing something like business, you want to do things for reasons that are logical and make business sense. So there we go. Don't you love my notes? So that was that. And in May, we had the Fredericton Quilt Guild Quilt Show out in New Maryland at the New Maryland Center. So that was a rollicking good time. Just keep everybody, Zoran's in the comment entertaining everybody. Keep doing it, kid. Love you. So we did the Fredericton Quilt Show back in May, and Danielle joined me as another vendor there. Now, the Fredericton Guild is one of the guilds that I belong to. It's always a great time. You may remember that show. It was a great show. Yes, my kids showed up. My grandkids showed that up to that. Do you remember that, Jade? Zaid, Zoran, whatever name you're going by today. That show was fun, Danielle. Okay, so there was that. The other thing that happened in May, according to my photos, was I became a Grace dealer and I got the cutie frame. Wow. So I did get that in May and set it up and check it out. So there. But then June, like boys, I did a lot this year. I did a lot this year in June, again with Danielle. It was the Andrea and Danielle show for like May and June because Danielle and I got on a bus, went to Halifax for Quilt Canada. I know. And it was nonstop fun there. You can scroll back in my timeline for that sort of thing. So Quilt Canada was amazing. I learned a lot. I was ramping up a few things in the background. I was absolutely blown away by feedback I got from people there who didn't even know me and hadn't even seen my work yet. It was a year of lessons. That's kind of was some of the theme here. It's been a year of lessons. I would like next year to not be a year of growth. I think I would like to practice those lessons and live in precedented times and just coast along for a bit. That would be fantastic.
You also missed my graduation.
And I missed my kids' graduation. Snowy graduated from NBCCD as a graphic designer in June. I'm so sorry. That's why I didn't have a picture of that. Couldn't stick it. I wasn't there.
You didn't have any pictures.
My kid graduated from college and I missed it. It's okay. I have two pictures of me at one kid's graduation, and that's it out of all of them. It's like we're quilt sisters. Yes, Danielle, we are definitely quilt sisters at the very least. Oh, I was going to say, does that mean I have to show up at your mom's house for dinner? And does she get to lecture me? She actually does lecture me. That's fine. I'm used to it. Every woman in the quilting community, in our big provincial quilting community, who feels close to me, who is at least my mother's age or close enough or older, has become my honorary auntie. So there we have it. Yeah, so we have a graphic designer on staff too with the kid. That wasn't the only thing I did in June, and I came home and I was sick. I got sick at Quilt Canada. I came home, got sick, got over that pretty quickly though, so I'm grateful for that. Because then at the end of the month, and I remember saying to Danielle, "Why did I think this was a good idea?" I did another conference. I went to Anna Maritime and had a booth there because I thought, well, let's tell the kids downtown who Anna Maritime is anime comic type geek fest that's in Fredericton in the summer. You'll see if you're from this area, it's like, okay, so that's why everybody's in costume downtown. Yeah, it's that sort of thing. Danielle says, I have to be open to the occasional suggestion. I am well aware of those suggestions. I'm not telling you what to do, honey. I just think you should. Yeah, been there. Try not to say that to my kids. I really try. So yeah, I did the Anna Maritime, and it was partly because my thinking was a lot of the people who go to these events that are cons, geek cons, comic cons, anime festivals, they make their costumes. You can buy them. There were a lot of purchase costumes. A lot of people make their own costumes. And I own a quilt shop, which you can make quilts, but we do have a fair bit of sewing supplies. We do have a fair bit of extra things. By then, I knew we had almost signed the lease. We had signed the lease by the time I was at Anna Maritime. We'd put down a deposit when I went to Quilt Canada. So I had been telling people, hey, guess what? We're going to move. We found a retail space. It was great. So people were pretty happy about that. And I was again, overwhelmed at how happy people were for me. It was weird. Um, Not that I shouldn't expect you to. I will explain that in a bit, because I want to talk about some lessons learned. Um, so yeah, we moved the shop. We had some great help. Shout out again to Susan, who has been invaluable throughout a large chunk of my year. She became a regular helper, Susan B, which is different than Susan A. We have a Susan B, a Susan A, and we have a Susan F as well. It's like a classroom. We're getting to it. So, Susan B, thank you. I love you. You're my friend. Miss your face. Haven't talked to you in a while. Should probably send you a message. Just see how you're doing. Um, so yeah, in July we moved, had some family help. We moved all of the entire shop in 3 days. 3 days. It was 2 weeks of planning, 3 days of moving, 4 days, 4 or more days to put it all back together. And on the last day, I pretty much had to hold back because my mom wanted to come help. So I had to have her hold back some stuff so she could help me with it. So we did that, Mom. That was epic. And that was in July. My mom and I haven't filmed a video together, pardon me, since July. And we absolutely need to do it again. Your public is awaiting, my dear mother. Your public awaits, mother. They're demanding an audience. Um, and in August, we did the Cambridge Narrows show. More with my mom. We did the Cambridge Narrows quilt show down during their Life at the Lakes festival. It was a busy, geez, that was a busy summer. That was not near as busy as I had kind of planned. I hate reading over my notes. So I went and stayed over at my mom's house. That was fun. That was nice. That was really nice, Mom. Thank you. And I showed people all the nice packed lunches that my mom would do for me. She didn't do this when I was in high school, mind you, but that was different. In high school, she worked across the street from me. I might have told this story. She worked across the street from the high school I was attending, sort of across the street. And I didn't like taking the bus because it's a bus full of high schoolers. Are you kidding me? Come on now. So I drove in to work with her. And I was a teenager. I didn't hardly eat anything. Come on. It's like I weighed 105 pounds soaking wet. Yes, really. Um, so if it did need money, it was she'd be driving through these twisty roads down the secondary highway, trying to put on her makeup at the same time, and like, here's my purse, kid, dig around the bottom for change. And she's like, I gotta pay some bills. Start writing those checks for me so I can sign them when you're done. Wild rides into town. So yeah, we gotta sort her out there. Yeah, and near the end of August, my father died, so that was super fun. Yeah, my mom while smoking and drinking Diet Coke. Yeah, and then the end of August, my father passed away, and that was not unexpected, but still sad. And again, quilting community, you guys are so understanding. So after that, of course, because this is how we deal, September, so busy. Quilt guilds we're back in sessions. I had lots of classes that start a light class schedule because I wanted to have classes and stuff. And it's just work, 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 work. Let's bury ourselves in work because that's how we cope. Yes. I hope my mom's not crying yet because she's going to be. Mm. And I was going to say, I hate it when I get a thought and I start reading ahead. One of the things my father used to say, and I did learn later, it's a John Lennon quote. It wasn't even him that said it. It wasn't even my father that said it. It was life is what happens when you're making other plans. You make all these plans and just stuff happens. That's how it goes. You kind of just gotta roll with it. So we did. And then in a stunning plot twist, my mom's brother died. So that's three people lost in the family within the past year. And Danielle said, is there anything else in life than work? Sometimes that's how we cope, Danielle. So then my uncle died suddenly in October, and that was really shocking. And that was the point where I said, you know what? Yeah, I got to cancel these classes because I can't do the classes and plan the classes and sit there and teach in a class while I'm thinking about all these other things. And I had a lot of other stuff to do that was family centric and help people out with that. So lots of stuff going on, and we're planning my father's memorial service at the same time, and we were trying to tie up all the loose ends with his estate and stuff, which we're still doing. So Danielle is also a workaholic like me, and we bury ourselves in work. And if we aren't working, we're talking to each other about work and trying to cope with life in general. Because honestly, who are you without your friends and somebody to talk to and your quilting community? Um, yeah. So again in October, it was still busy and stuff, and people understood. And the thing that struck me in October as well, and the thing that I am just so grateful for the kind of shop vibe that I wanted, the feeling that you get when you are a regular in a particular business. That's like business owners, they have goals, but they also, I think good ones anyway, they want to foster a sense of community. They want to have their customers feel a certain kind of way. And I think one of the things, um, oh, and Zaid lost a chicken that last year. But I mean, that's pretty sad too, kid. That is. And with the quilting community, one thing I learned in sharing the stuff and being open with some of the stuff that goes on in the background, just in my personal life, a lot of people when they're in here, and we joke about it, but it's true. It's the quilt shop confessional. It's the little sign that's over the sales counter, like Lucy and Charlie Brown in the Peanuts cartoon, that says the psychiatrist is in. And people joke, say I've come here for therapy. I don't necessarily want to buy anything, but I need to talk to somebody. I need to touch pretty fabric. I need to like cope, try not to, figure out how to cope with all the stuff that's going on. Like we've lost a bunch of members of quilt guilds over the past year. I heard about somebody even this week. And people would just say, you know what, I get it. And I can say to them, yeah, I get it too. And sometimes we don't have to say much at all because we've all been there. Um, and yeah, I think I've learned this year that there is such a bigger community out there than you know that is there for you too. And we can just share it, just open up a little bit, and it'll be awesome. Don't worry, there'll be more tears. There'll be more tears coming. Um, ooh, suspicious white van. So I'm distracted.
No, he comes around now. Oh, no, he's just turning around.
Okay, he's just turning around. And in November we got the glide thread rack. We did my father's memorial. Um, I started digging out way more minis and finishing a lot more of the smaller projects that were around. Everybody loves the mini wall. Um, I've always wanted in the shop one of the nice to have things, um, a spot where people can, especially if they're out of town and visitors, and we get lots of tourists in the summer. I thought it would be super awesome if I could figure out a spot where you could take like a selfie. It says, I went to the quilting shed. Yeah, purchase whatever. But the mini wall is getting bigger, and it's in a state now where you can stand in front of it and take a selfie. And you can take a selfie with the mini wall behind you and go, I saw the mini wall at the quilting shed. So you can plan on doing that sort of thing if you like posting to the gram and all that. That's a little fun. What is life without the highs and lows, right? Um, yeah, and it was super busy. November was our biggest and best month yet. I was so heads down working every so often. Our over dinner discussion of finances, and we had to start doing weekly recaps. My poor husband, thank God he was starting to feel better. Ugh. I missed when he did all his tests and stuff and results because I didn't take pictures of those. Uh, do I have Heidi wants to know, do I have the Quilting Shed logo quilt? No, but it is on my list and I need to make a mini of it. Maybe I could do that over the holidays. That and like the 27 other things I want to do. So yeah, it would be really funny. He would give me some stats and I was like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Just could you roll back to the other number, please? Because I'm stuck and I cannot quite comprehend that actual number here in how short of a time. So yeah, it's been pretty wild. And I know I'm not showing you anything new, but that's for the new year. And we're just doing our yearly recap. We're bonding. I know how much you guys love the weekly chats, even if I'm showing you stuff. Mm. But this time, I know there's no stuff. You've probably done your last visit. I know. You're off celebrating with the holidays, and this is just me and you. Because now we are getting down to December. December. I might have started at the end of November, but it was really December. So I put the call out. You remember, I said, hey, we got to give back somehow in here. We have to give back to the community. And I had donated to Liberty Lane before. And I had said, what if I could scare you up some quilts for all the women and children in need? And they were like, there's no way you can hit this number. Like, if we really, really try, we could just like, and I had alternate plans for what if we had to do a final push at the end. And I went through so many of my own quilts that were just sitting around waiting to be used by somebody. And we had to get 117 quilts, which we did in 2 weeks. Like, people are still talking about that. Like, people who didn't donate, like, I didn't even have time to think about donating a quilt, but I'm down for next year because you hit the goal so quickly. And I'm like, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. And this is where we're going to get mushy. So if you have Kleenex nearby, you have to go get Kleenex. You might want to do that now because I'm gearing you up and giving you some warning, Mom. So yeah, we everybody came through. We had tops donated. We had semi-finished quilts donated. Some people volunteered to quilt the unfinished ones. Some people volunteered to do the binding on ones that needed finishing, and which they did. People just came out of the woodwork. It was overwhelming. Thank you. Kleenex for me. A fresh one. And yeah, there were tears. So I guess, and it's getting close to wrap up time anyway. So yeah, we just blew them away, and they have so many quilts now. Like the second load, I don't know if I said this anywhere, but I didn't even count. Didn't even count. Just these are all bagged up. They're all labeled. They're all ready to go. Stuff them in the car. Drop them off. We don't even need a picture again this time. There's just too many. And the rest, whatever they'll need, they're going to let me know after Christmas, and we'll figure it out then. And that's great. So yeah, this year was a busy year. There was lots that went on, lots that happened. I felt like the queen, thinking I'm here for my annus horribilis discussion. Yeah, that's an old reference. So yeah, so the lesson of this year, and Danielle, I was thinking about this because Danielle and I will chat. Hi, my Aunt Wanda. You're gonna love this next part. Danielle and I chat about plans for next year together so we can bounce ideas off of each other. And I always tell her that I pick a word of the year. And my word of the year for this past year was show. I wanted to show you guys more, and I meant videos, but I wound up showing you more of like my life, more of the background things, showing you what I was up to, showing you my plans and not being afraid to do so. But and I showed you my love. I showed you my love. Yeah, Danielle and I are going to do next year planning. I showed you my love and gratefulness. And gratefulness is kind of a love thing. And I was thinking about this before. This is the crying part. So I was thinking about this before. It's really easy to show people love. I know it's hard for some people to say I love you, and you might have noticed I've been saying that more, which is good because some of my family pretty darn repressed. We didn't do that. And I told my father a lot that I did love him, and that was really good. We weren't able to do that. I'm able to tell my friends I love them, which is really good. I love you, my customers. I love my mom, even though she drives me nuts. Um, I love my kids. They know that. I love my grandkids. Always say I love you. Um, Other people around the family are like, "Your mom says I love you a lot." And they're like, "Yeah, and?" um, but the big lesson, and I know some of you, you guys love deeply. You love me, and I will get to that. You guys love to show love. You love to show love in your quilt. I hear you when you are angsting over getting you're picking out fabric and somebody said, "I don't even like this person that much." And here I am angsting over whether or not this red is the perfect shade of red. Um, but so the bigger thing that I just wanted to get really super personal about and let you guys know that was the hardest to learn over the past year was to actually receive it back. How hard it is, even for you, because I know some of you have a hard time with this too. It's easy to give the love, it's harder to receive it back. Sit with that one for a while, especially if you are the kind of person who Christmas is your job. It's your job to make it for somebody else. And for a long time, I had to make the perfect Christmas for everybody to the point where we were driving everybody crazy. Um, so if you're that kind of person and somebody says, "Mom, will you sit down and let me do this for you?" They love you. So receive that love. Somebody makes you a present, just receive it. Somebody gives you a compliment, they're saying, "I love your work," just go, this is gonna be really hard. They like the quilt you made them, just say thank you. Don't say, "But there's a mistake right there." And I do the same. I know. Still learning. So just receiving that love, that was the lesson this year. I wanted you to maybe try receiving love sometimes yourself. It's hard for some people. It really is. I had to wrap up it. Oh, I don't remember what it was. So before I go, I have one story, and I waffled about even posting this because it is one of those crying stories. I did tell a couple people, and I'm wrapping it up for the new year before we go for the break and 2 weeks. So I had somebody call, and they wanted to get here before I close. And that's not unusual. People call all the time. I had to come in. I'm from out of town. Whatever. And I'm glad my Aunt Wanda's listening to this story because you especially are going to love this. And my mom is going to love this. So she came in, she wanted to buy some stuff for reasons and whatever. And we were talking, and she was like, "You look really familiar." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I get that a lot. I get that a lot." It's New Brunswick. Everybody's like 3 degrees separated from everybody else. And she said she was down from the Miramichi. I was like, "Oh, we used to live in the Miramichi." So she was actually familiar with where we lived and the house we lived in. Oh, that's it. That's probably it. You probably saw me around, whatever, passing circles, that kind of thing. Excuse me. And we're just chit chatting like I normally do. We're just sharing stuff. And I'm ringing her up, and I'm just rambling. And she looks at me and she goes, "Adrian." And I said, "Yeah, he's my father. He's my father." And he goes, she reached her hand out to mine. She covered my hand and she goes, "Oh, he loved you so much." And that's when I lost it. That's what I mean. About receiving love and being open to these things. I think if you're thinking, how does this relate to quilting? And it's way too sappy for me. it'll help you in your quilting if you just start being more open to these sort of love things. It's very creative and freeing. And if you got chills hearing that story, imagine how I felt. She knew my father. She helped him. She was a really good friend. She had actually missed his memorial and just out of the blue walks into my quilt shop without really knowing that. Um, that's who I am, you know. To her, it was just some random shop that was in Fredericton, right? Here I am, the daughter of one of her really good friends. Um, it's wild. So that's your lesson for the new year. And that is my thanks to you, the awesome Quilting Shed community, the friends that I have made, the people I have become close to, the people who let me love them. That was the other thing. I have some very small customers who let me love them. Cute little kids that work in here and let me tag along with them, and their moms who let me. I love those kids; are so cute. It's a love fest in here, and as easy as it is to give love, sometimes it's hard to receive it. So that's your lesson, and basically, I wish you a very calm, Merry Christmas, a very quiet holiday season, some laughter, some love. It's not about the presents; it's about the presence of the people who are with you. I even wore my Sewing Love shirt. Um, yeah, it's been a wild ride, and honestly, I didn't do this all myself. It's so many people carried me like all the way through this because we all love quilting. We just love it, and we love each other. Isn't that amazing? It's all we got sometimes. Jeez. Next year, yeah, you have to rest up over the holidays because next year is going to be insane. I promise. It's going to be wild. It's going to be exciting. Didn't I just say I wanted nothing to happen and to be calm? Nothing dramatic, but it's going to be exciting
Not
and
until January
quilting.
2nd.
Mom's going to come visit on Boxing Day. Maybe we'll do something wild. Meantime, she's wiping the tears off of her keyboard. I hope you got me something really nice. No. Anyway, we're wrapping it up. I really do mean it when I say I love you all. I couldn't have done this without you. What a friggin' fantastic year. My kid's standing over there. I love you too, Beam. Love my grandbabies in the comments. I love my family. Love my friends.
And we love you too, though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Just getting that love back. I'm gonna wrap it up before we all cry again. We love our bread, we love our butter, but most of all, we love each other. And that is from my friend Heidi. I haven't heard that in years. All right, I'll be seeing you. If you happen to swing by the shop, that's fine. We're just wrapping it up. We'll be done on Saturday, and we'll be back on January the 8th, I think. And until then, I wish you lots of love in your life. That's pretty much it. Later. Later, taters.